Deep in the shadowy alleys of New York City, I worked at the heart of the illegal memory trade. My name is Ethan, but in this world, everyone knows me as the memory broker. My job was to buy and sell people's memories. Memories, feelings, and even thoughts were the currency of this dark world. In this rapidly advancing future, memories were no longer just fragments of the past. They had become the most valuable commodity of the future. My story began on a cold winter night in 2037. In a secluded warehouse, I was working with an old model memory extractor. The extractor was a complex device that decoded brain waves and converted memories into digital form. As I worked, I delved into the depths of my own memories. I recalled my first client, Chloe. She was a young woman who wanted to sell the beautiful memories she had with her lover. Initially, this job seemed unethical, but over time, it became a routine trade for me. Acquiring Chloe's memories had made me a fortune. Memories were traded on the black market at varying prices. Happy memories were usually the most expensive. People paid large sums to relive the joyous moments they had experienced or to feel the happiness of others. However, painful memories were also in demand. Psychologists used these memories to foster empathy in their patients. One day, I met a man known as the Boss. He was one of the biggest names in the memory trade and had recognized my talents. Working with him opened new doors for me. His rule was simple: nothing personal, it's all business. This principle gradually stripped me of my emotions and focused me solely on my work. One day, I received a job offer from a high-ranking government official. He wanted me to steal the memories of a criminal. The job was both dangerous and lucrative. I accepted and began making the necessary preparations. I set up the extractor and tracked down the target. However, things did not go as planned. The criminal's memories were protected by his accomplices, putting my life in danger. In the midst of these dangerous jobs, Emily came into my life. She came as a client wanting to sell her memories, but we formed a bond. Emily's memories contained the innocence of her childhood and the purity of her youth. The time I spent with her reminded me of what it meant to be human. However, this created a vulnerability in my work. The boss warned me when he discovered my relationship with Emily, but I didn't listen. One night, I decided to take Emily and run to protect her memories. However, things did not go as planned. The boss had learned of our escape and had sent his men after us. As we fled through the back streets of the city, we risked everything for our lives. Finally, we found a place to hide. We settled in a small coastal town and began a peaceful life there. However, it was impossible to escape our past. The boss had found us and was on our trail. One night, as we tried to flee with our memories, we were caught by the boss's men. In a final act of bravery, Emily used the extractor to erase all our memories. We no longer knew who we were or where we came from. This was a kind of liberation for us. Now, as I write these lines, I am struggling with the memories that come from the depths of my mind. I don't remember who I am or what I did, but one thing is certain: the memory trade had changed the lives of Emily and me forever. We lost our memories, but maybe this was a chance for a new beginning. Emily and I began a new life in this small town. No one knew who we were, and we didn't either. Our past remained just a dark shadow. But perhaps this gave us a second chance. We had left behind the weight of the past and started with a clean slate. We had escaped the dark world of the memory trade and began living a peaceful life. And perhaps most importantly, we had found each other. Our memories were gone, but our love remained. That was perhaps our most valuable memory. After several months of peaceful life in our new reality, everything seemed to be going well in the town. However, one day while walking through the streets, I saw a familiar face. It was Jack, the boss's right-hand man, who had introduced me to the world of memory trade. What was he doing here? This town was supposed to be far removed from the shadowy dealings of the city. Seeing Jack filled me with dread. I tried not to show Emily anything as we hurried back home. That night was sleepless. Jack's presence here meant that the boss was still after us. I realized that running and hiding would not help us. The boss had found us, and this time there was no escape. The next day, I met Jack at an old factory outside the town. He was waiting for me with a smug smile on his face. "Ethan, you knew I'd find you, didn't you?" Jack said. "The boss hasn't forgiven you, but we have an offer." I listened intently. Jack said the boss was giving me one more chance to return to the memory trade. But this time, the job was more complex. I would be working with high-ranking government officials, stealing their secrets. The offer was tempting, but also extremely dangerous. I was at a crossroads, struggling to decide whether to accept the offer. I told Emily everything. We had to make this decision together. Emily believed we had paid for our past mistakes and should start a new life. However, we knew that if we refused the boss's offer, he would never leave us alone. Emily's determination gave me strength. "We can do this together," she said. "Let's fight one last time to free ourselves from the shadows of the past." I accepted the boss's offer, but this time, Emily and I had a plan. We would work together, finish the job, and then disappear forever. Our first target was to infiltrate a memory bank holding government secrets. Emily's tech skills were invaluable in this mission. One night, we broke into the memory bank and stole the necessary information. But once again, things didn't go as planned. We had fallen into a trap. The boss had given us this job to test us, expecting our failure. We realized we had to flee immediately. Our escape was arduous. With the boss's men chasing us through the city streets, we fought for our survival. Thanks to Emily's intelligence and my street smarts, we eventually managed to escape. It was impossible to stay in the city any longer. We boarded a ship and left the country. We set off for a new country and a new life. We had to leave our past behind, but we hadn't lost each other. We had escaped the dark world of the memory trade and started anew. In a new country with new identities, Emily and I began to rebuild our lives. Our old memories were gone, but we had a long road ahead to create new ones. The dark world of the memory trade was behind us, and we had gained our freedom. Every day was a new beginning. The shadows of the past were behind us, but our future was bright. And with Emily, I knew we could overcome any challenge. My journey as a memory broker had ultimately led me to true freedom and love. This was the confession of a memory broker, a journey from a dark world to a bright future. Perhaps most importantly, I realized that memories were not just commodities, but the essence of life itself. As Emily and I rebuilt our memories in this new world, we lived a happy and peaceful life. The tranquility of this new life felt like a miracle that had brought us back together. One morning, while walking along the beach with Emily, we saw a strange light in the sky. At first we thought it was a star or a plane, but the light quickly grew larger and approached. Before we could understand what was happening, a large spaceship landed on the shore. The group of people who emerged from the ship left us stunned. The captain of the ship, named John, told us they were from Mars and were looking for volunteers from Earth to establish a new colony. They had heard our story and admired our courage. John offered us a perfect opportunity for a fresh start. On Mars, we would be part of a completely new society, far removed from the memory trade. Emily and I exchanged glances. This was an opportunity not to be missed. A new world, new memories, a new beginning. We accepted and stepped onto the spaceship. The journey was long and challenging, but every moment was filled with hope for the future. When we arrived on Mars, we were greeted by an endless red desert and the promises of a new life. In our new colony, Emily and I worked together to build a new society, leaving behind the traces of our past. I was no longer a memory broker. I was now a pioneer, helping to shape the future. The journey from the dark world of the memory trade to the bright future of Mars taught me the true meaning of life. Memories were not just fragments of the past, but elements that shaped our future. Together with Emily, in this new world, we created new memories every day and lived a happy and peaceful life. This was the confession of a memory broker, a story of steps taken from a dark world to a bright future, beginning on Earth and ending on Mars. Now our memories were not only ours, but also a part of the future, and each new day was a new beginning, new.